Hello there. Hope you're well. Victoria Dioh here. Okay, so this is the first of many lives. I'm just going to make sure that we are live on all the platforms. We're not live on Instagram today. However, that is going to change. But welcome. I have decided to come in here every day at 9:30. First and foremost, to talk about, to bring my Victoria Dio show here because, um, yeah, I thought it'd be really good to come in and have a conversation, especially as I am changing things up in the business. So if you weren't watching, I'll catch you up with what's gone on over this last few days. But first and foremost, I want to introduce myself. My name is Victoria Dio. I help you to fall in love with your life by using project management and intuitive tools and techniques. It's all around intuitive leadership. If we've worked together before, it's nothing different. It's nothing different with regards to how we deliver. It just means that this is more enhanced and also more, what's the word? More formularized is what I'm going to say. Bear with me as I find my way around it because it's quite a recent thing of change, but I want to come on here and just sort of bring you topics that may awaken you, that may give you some sort of resonance, that may make you realize where the gaps are. And hopefully you can start to create that life that you really want. Because at the end of the day, whatever's going on, all we want to do is to love our lives. All we want is a life that we enjoy, that we feel fulfilled in. That's the end result of it all. It's a lot of people think, well, if I make more money, then this is how I'm going to feel, or if I date this person, and this is how I'm going to feel. But the truth of the matter is, it comes from within here. And I thought, you know what, this is a great way to come in. So I'm going to be coming in at 9:30 daily, unless otherwise scheduled, but that's the plan, to come in live. And then you can also go onto my YouTube channel and catch up if you missed anything. But most of these are going to be on here anyway. I know that Facebook have decided that they want to get rid of some videos, so we shall see how they get on. So if we haven't met, I live in London and I've been here for quite a long time, quite a long time. And what I've been doing for the last 25 years, and that makes me, I am old. Let's just put it, I am old. But for 25 years, I have had the absolute honor to have been trusted with some major projects, programs, and portfolios. So just to give you um, an awareness and for context, when we talk about project management, we talk about one idea. So it's one idea, one project. And then we may have one idea, but several projects that will lean into the same idea. That's what we mean by programs. And then sometimes we have an overall idea, and which is massive. And then we have like programs sat underneath, and within those the projects, and that's what we call the portfolio. So the portfolio is the largest entity. Inside there are programs, and within those there are projects. So I get people who come to me and say, well, we've got 100 projects. Have you got 100 projects? Normally it's my job to make sure that they have organized their projects accordingly, because people just sometimes go a bit, trigger happy. And this is what happens when all we do is focus on implementation. I'm going to be telling you about that later. So first things first, when we talk about leadership, when we talk about fulfillment, and when we talk about intuition, a lot of people separate corporate from business. But what we forget to understand is that the corporates that you work for is a business. It's a business, and you're just a tiny entity of that business. And if you own a business, then you're still a business. And that's why I've called today's topic the business of the boardroom, because people try and separate it, and that's where one of the mistakes go. They sort of like they try and separate business from your job. And the truth of the matter is, even if you're working for a non-profit, you are working to be able to lean into some KPIs, to be able to provide some form of profit so that that business can continue. Every business needs funds. Every business needs to be able to survive. So you're working towards that, whatever you tell yourself. And the mistake that we make is that we put it all in the entity of business and we forget about the human being, the human being. So I put a post out there today on Instagram, and it talks about the fact that it's always the people, it's always the people that will normally bring a project down. So normally people go, oh, well, it's a system, it's a system. People manage the systems, people have implemented the systems. But then we always go back as well to the capability and the competence of the individual. And after spending 25 years in corporate and working alongside people, the blame culture is huge. And it's also transferring onto the business side as well. It's like when you see it online, people get blamed, people's behaviors get blamed. And I always go, well, what's behind those behaviors? You know, so for example, if somebody's depressed or somebody's stressed, then that's going to affect the behavior. And because we are so focused on KPIs, even if you don't know what a KPI is, but you're focused on measuring results on how people are doing rather than how people are feeling, we tend to miss the connection that we want with people. We miss the connection that we need to be able to attach with people. Now, um in corporate, for example, I know that you get given a team. So when I used to get given a team, there's no plan. There's no plan. It's pretty much, well, you know what, Victoria, create a team and you can, manage all the projects for the organization. And there's nowhere that says that we need to have an idea of what that looks like. There's nowhere that says that we need to sort of like have steps on how to build a team. It's normally, well, let's just go out for interview. Let's write the job spec and put it out there. And one of the things that I started to do was actually plan it in a way that would give me sustainable staff. Write this down, sustainable staff. What does that mean? Everybody's happy when they start a job. That, everybody's like, yeah, I've got a job, I've got a job. And to be fair, most people think about the money. Some people will think about, what they're involved in. But overall, people are happy to have a job. I promise you, at some point, most people get to a point where they go, I'm not sure this is for me, or I'm not enjoying it, or this person, me and this person don't gel, or I don't like this person's ideas. So it's really important that even when you're hiring people, that you treat it as a project, because then you have the steps in there. And can I just say this as well? So we're going to have fun, right? So these talks, I'm going to make sure that they don't go beyond 30 minutes. So I need to time myself. If you have things like Asana and Monday.com and all these other great, glorious tools, that is not project management. I'll just tell you that right now. That is not project management. It gives you an overview of what you're doing. It's great to let you keep track of what's going on, but the project management is here. Is here. It's like you have to embed what project management looks like. What does that mean? When I've seen people populate Asana and they go, right, that task, that task, that task, that task, and nobody looks at the succession. Nobody looks at the sequence. Nobody looks at what needs to come before X or what needs to come before Y. Nobody looks at the dependencies. So what needs to happen before something else happens? Nobody looks at the critical path. Nobody looks all those different areas that, and all these terms that I'm saying, and I will break those down in various areas of my my social media forums. What tends to happen is that people focus more on implementation, the doing, the typing of the that. And people think that when they have meetings, that that's strategic, but it's still implementation. We need to move away from the idea of implementation and stick more to the idea, and then move down towards planning and then execution. And that's very different from implementation. I hear a lot of people go, well, I'm in implementation mode now. I'm in implementation mode now. And every time we get into implementation mode, we don't move around. We literally get stuck. I've been there and I know this stuff. It's like you get in and I go, oh my God, I've done it again. I've gone back into implementation, come back out. So this last weekend, after having the realization that I have completely ignored my project management prowess, shall I say, I've spent more time in my ideation phase. I've spent more time thinking and strategizing from a more senior level than strategizing from a more lower level. Yeah. Really sort of like thinking about the what and the why and nothing to do with the how. So this, for example, was part of my ideation, which was, well, what needs to happen to be able to get the message out? And I could have sat there and gone, well, I want to advertise here and advertise there. And then I remember actually yesterday I went to church, and the vicar talked about the sheep knowing your voice. I was like, yes, it's so true. When your sheep, the people that need to hear you need to hear you. And also there was something else that was said. And it happens a lot in business and it also happens a lot in corporate. And when I'm going to eventually sort of like, we're going to start calling business in general everything, okay? Which is why I've called this the business of the boardroom. What tends to happen is we give lip service to relationships. So if we like your posts, if we say hello to you, if we smile at you, we almost want people to believe that we have a relationship with them. And actually, the passage that was read yesterday talked about, if you just go and call somebody and say, hey, come over here, oh hi, they're going to say hello to you, but they're not going to buy into what you're doing. You need to get to really nurture the people around you. For those of you who are online business, especially, you know about nurturing your audience. But this also has to happen in corporate as well. It's not just about having a team and giving them a job and hoping that they'll be grateful for the salary that you pay them. You need to get to know who they are. And that's why you get people who silent quit on jobs, both online and offline. You get people who go, this person doesn't know me anymore. This person hasn't invested in me. This person doesn't care about me. I've always said this from God. I probably started saying this in 2015, if not earlier. I would never be able to do any of the work that I do without my team. I have meticulously always hired teams that have stayed with me up until today. What does that mean? Because some of you are going, hang on, Vic, you don't have a team. I don't have a team now, but the people I've hired and put into jobs are still very loyal to me. They've been promoted, but they're still within the same company. Very few have decided to leave because I made sure that they were the right fit, not just for me, for the organization. Everything has to be a project. When you have the steps right, you create sustainability. If you try and boycott those steps, then that's where you create chaos. So even if you have got a great idea, and by every single piece of logic, you know that this idea is meant to be successful, every time you panic, every time you get angry, every time you bring emotion into it, you go off plan. Every single time you go off plan and you create chaos. So you may sit there and go, wow, I've spent all this time working on this and stuff, and we sat down with the team and we worked and everything else, and we just don't know what went wrong. You brought emotion into it. You brought emotion, because here's the thing, and this is not me saying that you shouldn't feel. What I'm saying is that when you let emotion control your decisions, then you've just created major self-sabotage. So I'm just looking at here. No, nothing here. So I just wanted to just bring that to you, that everything is a business, and the people who are managing your projects deserve to love their lives as well as everybody else. And as a leader, here's the secret. If your staff are happy, you're happy. The reason why you go home or you close your laptop and you think to yourself, something's missing, is because majority of the time you've spent the energy that you would normally use to discover this incredible side of your life, your purpose, you've spent it fighting fires. You spent it fighting fires and you're exhausted. You're exhausted, you're angry, you're frustrated, you're stressed because that side isn't being dealt with. So then you look at your life and you think, yeah, but I'm successful. I've got the status, I've got the status financially, I've got the status reputationally, and yet I don't feel great. I feel like a fraud. And that's because where you spend your energy is being compromised. So if you do nothing today, is just to jot down where you're spending your energy. Don't change anything today. Just jot down where you're spending your energy so that you can have a great benchmark on where we go from here. And secondly, when you see a member of staff and you know that they're not their true selves, if you feel like maybe they're underperforming, maybe they're a bit quiet, maybe they're just not their normal selves, rather than just going and asking, are you okay? Are you okay? I'm going to give you tomorrow some key 3 phrases that will help you to help them feel supported and to open up. Because we all know that if somebody says, are you okay? The likelihood is that, especially if it's somebody that we don't trust, somebody that we're still trying to navigate, we will normally say, yeah, I'm fine. And that doesn't do anything other than tick the box of saying, well, I did ask. I knew there was something wrong. I did ask. I said you were okay. What else did you want me to do? I don't have the tools and everything else. So if there's somebody today that you need to ask a question to, hold fire, because I've got some 3 great topics or 3 great sentences that will help you tomorrow to really connect to that person. Let me know your thoughts on this. This is the first one. I will be back tomorrow. I'm excited. I also have a sprint coming up, which I hugely, hugely invite you to join. It's going to be called Implementation to Impact. So the details will be available soon. If you'd love to be the first to be invited to that, then just comment below and let me know, or send me a private message and I'll send you the details. It is going to be an online thing, so you'll receive emails on what to do. I am going to have a space where you can have some videos where you can get pointers of what to do next and to help motivate you and motivate your team. It's coming soon. I will let you know the dates and everything else. But if you want to be the first to know about it, just send me a message and I'll get back to you. Have a great Monday and I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.